in the red corner, an undefeated mixed martial artist holding a perfect professional record, Khamzat Chimaev! An undefeated mixed martial artist holding a perfect professional record, 16 wins, no losses. Presenting the number 9 ranked UFC welterweight contender in the world, Shavkat Rakhmonov!
Shavkat Rakhmonov continues to confidently climb to the top of the welterweight division. Recently, he was able to defeat the representative of the top 10 and take the 6th position in the ranking. Now he is waiting for truly hype fights, and one of them may be a hackneyed fight against Khamzat Chimaev. Many fans of both athletes are waiting for them to be brought together in the octagon. Hello fighters, the MMA Predictions channel is with you in this video. I will give a prediction for a potential fight between Khamzat Chimaev and Shavkat Rakhmonov. But before starting this video, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and like it so that as many fans as possible can see this video. This fight has been heard for a long time. Fans of both fighters want to see this fight, and this is understandable since both are prospects in the top 6 welterweight and both are very popular personalities, which can have a positive effect on the promotion of this fight. In addition to everything else, their hype is real. This is not some Sean only who defeated everyone in a row and then he was greeted by the top Marlon Vera, to whom he successfully lost. Both fighters were tested by strong tops of their weight. Chimaev managed to meet with good representatives of wrestling and also no less good striker Gilbert Burns, who at the time of their fight occupied the 3rd line, and Rakhmonov, in turn, was not without the famous Neil Magny and Jeff Neal. Both he was able to finish by forcing them to knock. In general, the fighters are not just in these positions. They deserve all this with sweat and blood, and there is nothing to criticize them for. As for their fight itself, the management did not seriously consider this confrontation. Basically, only the fans gave the heat and asked to arrange this fight, but the UFC is not profitable in any way, and now I will explain why. The loser in this pair will lose a lot of hype. The main promotion will also be able to afford it after all, so why should they do this if you can hold the fighters until the title fight, where there will be PPV and other paid chips that fans will undoubtedly buy for the sake of this fight? What can be said in the end? The UFC is unlikely to do this, and in the near future their fight is definitely not worth waiting for, but we can disassemble it and understand who will be stronger and will be able to declare himself as a top welterweight fighter. In this video, we will analyze everything inside and out in order to understand which of the athletes is on Olympus and who is just climbing it. Percussive style. Well, let's start as usual with the analysis of striking equipment, and the first in line is Shavkat Rakhmonov, who in the last fight showed all the beauty of his boxing and ability to work on his hands. Shavkat showed a lot of things, but I will note only the most important factors. The first is the ability to take a blow. No matter how many bombs from Jeff flew into Rakhmonov's head, he kept everything. We also saw that he could work with elite level fighters. He could be said to have been a little better than the American that evening. Neil tried to get close to his opponent all the time, but Shavkat stopped him every time with a good counter punch. Also, Shavkat's kicks worked well against Jeff. In general, all the blanks that the Kazakh used in past battles passed without problems in this one. Rakhmonov showed that he is really a dangerous representative of striking equipment. How many knockouts he had before this fight? This is a serious statement. Now let's move on. What can be said about the striking style of the Greyhound? As I have stated more than once, Chimaev does not have such a base in his hands. Well, he does not know how to box competently. What can you do? But God rewarded him with excellent punching power. If you don't believe me, you can watch his fight against Ikram Aliskerov and Gerald Meerschaert. There all the power of Chimaev is clearly shown. But as I said, Chimaev is not particularly strong in boxing technique. We could see this in the fight against Gilbert. who easily avoided Khamzat's attacks and counterattacked twice as strongly. So in the stand against Shavkat, he needs to be extremely careful, since he must be aware that in this fight the Rak will not be on his side. If he refuses to accept this factor, then the night for Chimaev may become sad. All the same, he is a wrestler with a good punch on the base, but not boxing, and therefore I will choose Shavkat Rakhmonov as a favorite who, compared to Chimaev, is higher than the mountain. Playing from below. And here Khamzat can begin to build his game, since it is there that he likes to end fights. Kevin Holland and many other UFC fighters suffered from the fight of the Chechen Greyhound. Khamzat has always had and remains this trump card in his pocket, and he uses it in every fight. But only if you don't count the fight with Burns. From the very beginning of the round, Khamzat presses you to the cage and then throws you down with an amplitude throw, or drags you through the entire octagon to his corner. This has already happened in the practice of the Greyhound. But in this fight, everything will not be as simple as it seems, since his opponent is also not bad in wrestling. And therefore Chimaev should also not expect that he will easily be able to fight the Kazakh. He also has skills on the ground, which we will talk about a little later, so Chimaev should prepare with full dedication and understand in which situations it is better to translate. Rakhmonov will definitely be stronger than many rivals with whom Khamzat fought. At least I think he will be superior in skills to the same Gilbert. Now let's move on to Rakhmonov's wrestling skills, and as I have already noted, he also knows how to fight, lie down, and also do painful. You should not go for an example for a long time. It is enough to recall his last fight, where he, seeing an opportunity, slammed the lock on the American's neck and forced him to knock literally 1 minute before the end of the fight. He also forced a good fighter named Alex Pereira to surrender, who was given good chances in a duel against Shavkat, but he ruined all the plans of the Brazilian that evening. Well, what can I say as a result? It will not be easy to choose a favorite here, since both fighters are not bad at both aspects of the game, but still I will give preference to Khamzat, since his task is almost always to fight, only fight and nothing more, and Rakhmonov is often used to holding his fights in a standing position and does not often resort to the ground. Cardio spirit. And finally, we can assess Rakhmonov's endurance, since in the last fight he can be said to have passed all the time allotted to him, another minute, and he would have reached a decision. So I saw a good reserve of strength from Shavkat. He showed that he can easily go forward and punch heavy blows during all 3 rounds. Yes, not to say that he was straight fresh and ready to go 2 more, no, but he can go at least 15 minutes at a high pace, and this says a lot. Now let's talk about the Greyhound gas tank, and here is the trouble, because in the fight against Gilbert, for a moment this is the only fight of Khamzat in which he reached the decision of the judges, so he did not show himself in the best light. We all saw that he begins to slow down at the end, and his passes, the strength in his hands abruptly disappears. But Shavkat and Khamzat have only one thing in common. They both showed themselves in only one fight, and if we evaluate it in this way, then I will believe more in Shavkat, since he showed that 3 rounds are not a problem for him. As for the spirit, there will naturally be equality. Both fighters are young and charged and will never give up. They have only one thing in their heads, gas and nothing else. Forecast. This time I will believe more in the victory of Shavkat Rakhmonov due to his versatility. I think he will be able to defend himself from Chimaev's transfers, but in the Rak he will interrupt the Greyhound, where in the end he will take the fight by decision of the judges. The future of fighters. As for the future of Shavkat, he will receive not a small share of the hype, and naturally he will be waiting for a fight for the belt since such a hype needs to be raised even more. Chimaev will get his first defeat and most likely it will break him a lot, but he will be able to cope with it and even get closer to the title race again.